be amoral to kill him.
That seems like... I don't want to go so far as to say it's a contradiction, but there seems to be a problem because on the one hand, it's amoral, which means that it has no moral dimension to it, and on the other hand, he's advising against it. Why would he advise against it if it has no moral
let's say
dimension?
it's like this. You drinking battery acid has no moral dimension, but I would advise against it.
But why?
Because I believe that you don't want to die, so I would advise you, if you don't want to die, not to drink battery acid. It is not my moral judgment. It is not your obligation to follow that advice. It is simply that I given you advice. Same as you gave me.
You've given me advice on what you think would be better for me, right?
Same as you
that
gave
has
me.
to have a moral dimension.
No, it doesn't. Did you?
Of course it does.
Did you?
Why would you advise it?
Did you have it advise me to use OBS? Is that a moral judgment? No, it's not. I don't think that is a moral judgment.
It doesn't contain a moral component, but we're not dealing with life and death.
Neither does this.
Yes, it does. Because we're dealing with life and death and health and ill health.
Not under my understanding of morality.
Right. So you want to claim that me recommending OBS as a program that you can use to your own ends, you want to say that there's no difference between me doing that and you advising me not to drink battery acid?
Yes, and that's me advising you not to go poke a bear. Right? It's not that is...
No, because one is going to have outcomes for our health, right?
Yeah,
me advising you to,
moral...
me suggesting that you get OBS, that's got nothing to do with your health or your well-being.
But your health, your well-being is not what is relevant to, not directly relevant to morality. What is relevant to morality is you observing the rules.
So getting mauled by a bear isn't recommended for my health, right? I think that's what you said.
Yes, I would not recommend it.
Right. So whether you get OBS or not, does that have any implications to your health?
I don't see how health has anything to do. Why is health...
health... Okay, so there's no moral component to health, right?
Not direct.
What the fuck does that mean?
Well, every part of human experience is somewhat intertwined, but that is... I would not say that it is... that health is the main...
I agree that you're not morally obligated to be healthy. I agree with that, right? That's fine.
Yeah.
But to analogize me saying, hey, here's a program you can use on your PC, to this is what happens when you get mauled by a tiger. I mean, like, talk about apples and oranges.
Well, it's the both of those things are advices, right?
Their advice, yeah.
So there is
recommendations in my case, but
recommendation, advice.
Sure, if you want to use the same word, that's fine. I'm not picking on that. Okay, so would you recommend that I don't get mauled by a tiger?
I would recommend that you don't get mauled by a tiger.
Okay, would you recommend that I don't use OBS to make recordings?
I am, for now, very happy with OBS, so I would recommend that you do.
And you think those things are on the same tier, right? Presumably, when it's very obvious that one doesn't have any implications for my health.
Well, both provide you with a mean to fulfill your wish, being
that doesn't answer my question, though.
I think it answers your question perfectly.
Well, it doesn't, because one is very clearly detrimental to my health, in which case I wouldn't be able to use OBS anymore, and the other one doesn't.
Well, I can only suspect that you have implicit wish to be healthy. Maybe you don't. Maybe you want to get mauled by a tiger.
Connann's reaction, well, look, that's not my problem.
Yeah, I mean, like, this is all it's going to be, which is why I'm not going too deep on it. But I think it's fairly obvious that there's a bit of a difference between me saying, hey, get this free software program that isn't going to affect you at all, and yes, it's fine to be mauled by a tiger. Like, I mean, seriously?
Well, maybe you want to be mauled by a tiger. I don't know. Same as
Except in my case, I don't.
Well, they don't then.
I want to have OBS. That's why I've got it. I don't want to be mauled by a tiger.
Okay. That is.
What's the difference?
I don't know. Both are wishes. I don't see any difference.
Okay. I want to kill your mother because it'll make me happy.
Okay, I would advise against that.
And I want to get... Why? I also want to get OBS.
Well, let's leave OBS for now, but...
because this is the part that debunks your position,
No,
right?
It does not debunk my position. If you want to kill my mother, you can. I would try to stop you, but...
Connann, I love
my
you,
wish.
but if you're going to bite the bullet on something like that...
It's not biting bullets. It is simply the case.
You don't think it's biting the bullet to say, if you want to kill my mother, sure, go ahead?
Well, I did not say go ahead. I said I would advise
you said you can, right? Those were your exact words.
Well, you physically can, right?
Sure.
You even stand pretty good chance. You are one person.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you stand a pretty good chance to doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but
that's the same as whether I get OBS or not, right?
Well, it is both of these are wishes. People fulfill their wishes or they don't. It depends on if it is worth for them or is it not worth for them.
So, would I be maybe able to explain this the way I'm interpreting it?
Go ahead.
Okay, just to try and clear things up, because I think you guys are getting... There's a little bit of a disconnect here. So much. What I think is happening is Connann is saying you can do what you want as long as it doesn't interfere with morality.
No,
morality
no. That is not what I'm saying.
That's not what
I'm
saying.
saying that you can do whatever you want. It doesn't mean that it is necessarily that will be moral or not. But you can do not whatever you want, but you can do what you can do. In this case, yeah, you can. That's why people commit crime, because they want to.
Okay, I get that. But you're just saying if SD decides he wants to kill your mother or someone in your family because it gives him pleasure, he could do that. He would just be immoral of doing so, and he will
suffer the consequences of his actions. But he can do it. There is nothing physically preventing him for it. He actually has a pretty good chance of pulling it off.
The problem, Connann, is that there's yes, what you're saying is technically correct, right? Probably, at least. But there's nothing interesting about that claim.
So why are you discussing it then?
Well, because you brought it up. That's why we're discussing it. By interesting, I don't mean that I'm bored with it. I mean, interesting in sort of philosophical terms just means there's no further point to be made, right?
Yes, thank you. I don't want to be interesting in philosophical way.
So if all you're saying is, yes, I can kill your mother because I'm capable of it, sure, that just trivially follows, right? I mean, it has to at that point. But what's the implication from there? Where are you going?
Nowhere.
Okay.
There is no end point other than accurately describing reality, right? I don't have any other end point.
Yeah, I accept. I fully grant that you are describing reality under those circumstances. But at that point, you don't have, like, any moral disagreement. You can't.
I can. Well, I I don't know what you mean by moral disagreement in this case.
Well, you've granted that I can kill your mother because I'm physically capable of it, right? Which is true, but trivial.
It's not trivial. It is very important thing
No.
discussion.
Like, okay, I need to change my words around them because trivial doesn't mean what you think it means. But it follows that if I can, then I can, right? Which is a tautology. If I'm capable, I can.
Well, you can.
Yeah, so, like, you're saying that there's no moral dimension to it.
Well, it is moral dimension to the act. That would be
to
an
the act.
immoral act.
The act isn't a conscious entity, right? It's the agent.
Well, you would be immoral in doing the act, but if
says
you want
who?
to, says I, and says the society. And
so
nothing. You will suffer consequences for your actions.
What if I get away with it?
Then nothing. It will still
right,
be
so you
immoral,
don't care.
But you would get. Well, I would care. I would do everything I can to bring you to justice.
Yeah, but let's say you don't succeed, right? I mean, people get away with murder.
Of course they do. The morality is not of.
So there's no moral dimension to people getting away with murder, then?
Well, it is a moral dimension. There will be, quote unquote, inquiry. There will be.
No, actually, no. I take the yes back because that doesn't follow, right?
Well,
there's people who've killed people who've never been even suspected of committing that crime, let alone been brought to trial.
But that murder was still would and is still an immoral act.
Says who? Says you. But you don't care about morality. There's no moral dimension to
morality. It is. That is exactly what morality is. It is a system.
What?
What is morality? I actually came up with
can I ask you
the
something?
definition. Yeah.
Let me ask you something. Is morality a system?
Yes, morality is an interhuman system of behavior based and reliant upon reliant and based on.
You're now equivocating.
I get it. No. Wait, I get it. I get it. Morality is a system of interhuman, like behaviors, beliefs, whatever.
Yes, based and reliant upon evolutionary trait or moral instinct.
Sure, it can be relied upon evolutionary traits, but let's be clear, right? Evolutionary traits are not static. Evolutionary traits are wide-ranging, which means that if it's based on evolutionary traits, then it has to be something.
Trait of moral instinct.
Okay, so you don't have any. Okay, but let's not do stuff like this. You don't have any evidence that evolution is based on one trait, because evolution is a variety of traits in which pushes certain adaptations amongst a species or groups of people in a geographical area. So if we know that it's based on a wide range of things, we can say that this system, and if it is a system, which means that it's not just like one or the other, then it must be something that is, what was the word that was being used? Esty?
What? Sorry, what word?
What was the word that you were using?
I said quite a few words. I'm not sure which one you mean.
Yeah, I know. But Conan is implying that morality is not just objective, but it's static. But you used another word to describe it.
What, the moral dimension?
Dimensional. So it's multidimensional, right?
Yeah, by
dimension
I mean component.
By dimension, you mean component. What's that mean?
I don't understand in what sense you mean dimensional.
No, it's not like a measurement in terms of like length, width, and all that. Like dimension means like component. There isn't a moral aspect to it, is what he's saying.
Okay. Hold on, sorry. I'm trying. There isn't a moral. Sorry, can you repeat that?
Yeah, I did not understand the context of your last sentence.
Whose last sentence?
Yours.
Mine? Well, it's what I've been arguing with you for the last 5 minutes.
Let's like regroup this, because I think this discussion is a little like
all over the place.
Let's just repeat the question again, SD, Conan, and he can try to answer.
I didn't have a question. I was responding to what he said.
So what did he say, and what is your response?
Okay, well, I mean, if you want to like do a reset, that's fine. But he was like, I brought up his mother at the door of McDonald's, and then we talked about like a tiger at the door of McDonald's, and I think I invoked some other creature at the same time as well. And
the lion.
Lion. Sorry.
Mm.
And he said that it's not right. Conan, you can interrupt me whenever you want, but I think you said that it's immoral for me to kill the creature in the way, right? Which could be your mother.
Well, not the creature. I said it is.
Well, she's a creature, isn't she?
We did not use the term creature before. We said that you can kill the animal and you cannot kill. You can, but it would be immoral for you to kill my mother.
Right, so you're invoking morality. You've just said that it's immoral, but you're also trying to argue that there's no moral component to it. That's going to be a problem, right?
You said that there is no moral component to it.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did. I never said that.
I didn't. I would never have said that, because there is a moral component to it. Right? I didn't say that. You said that.
No, why would I say that? That makes no sense.
You said that there's no moral component when it comes to the tiger or the lion or like whichever.
That is correct. There is no moral component.
So when it comes to your mother,
yes,
there is a moral component. Yes. What's the difference?
She is human. They are not. She is a part of the moral system. They are not.
And I would care about this because?
Well, you only have to care about it if you care about the safety that the moral system provides you. And the danger
I don't have to have a moral dimension to it then?
Well, you don't have
I can just go, fuck it, that's amoral.
You can. There is plenty of people
your position is fucking insane.
No, it's not. There is plenty of people who don't have the moral component. They're called psychopaths.
I know which one of us is and which one isn't.
What, a psychopath? I can assure you,
If that really is your position, you're the one that's going to get diagnosed with psychopathy, not me.
I believe that is an accurate explanation of the real world. My position.
Yeah, descriptively it is. But if you want to just do descriptive, then you can't have prescriptive.
I never said I have prescriptives.
You did, because you said that in the case of your mother, it's immoral. That's prescriptive.
No, that is descriptively true.
No, it's not.
Yes, you are.
Not unless you want to admit that this is purely descriptive and you have no moral component to it, right?
You are mixing up prescriptive ethics.
No, I'm not equivocating. Ethics. You are. I'm not going to allow it.
No,
I'm not equivocating.
Look, you are mixing prescriptive ethics and descriptive ethics. Applied ethics. You can ask me an ethical question, and I can answer you both with. I can answer you with my understanding of descriptive ethics, right? Because descriptive ethics.
So could anybody?
Yes, of course they could. That is what I'm saying all the time.
So is it right or wrong?
What is it? I don't use those terms because they are inaccurate.
Of course you don't, because this is where you get got, right? This is not good, Conan. Like,
What is not good?
You have an issue here.
What? I don't think I have an issue. Point it out.
I tell you what I'd like to request, seeing as the chap is in the chat, Zoom, do you want to take over this? Because you have a lot more patience than I do. Do you want to go from here?
Yeah, I mean, I could chat about it. I think I understand where you're coming from, SD. I mean, free to listen, and everyone's free to contribute if they want. But I mean, try to clear this up. I was acting as a de facto mod before, so.
Yeah, no, I fully appreciate. It's just that it seems like there's a fucking issue here.
Right. I think, honestly, Conan, I think it can get really. I think SD is doing an interesting job pointing out, or I would say a good job, maybe, pointing out that trying to have a purely descriptive moral system just isn't really coherent.
Because morality wouldn't be a component, right?
Yeah, you'd have to have ought statements actually make it mean anything.
There is no purpose to ought statements.
That's what I mean. Is when you're speaking right now, you're saying it's immoral.
Yes.
That would almost be an ought statement. It would just be reduced into that. That's just how the language operates.
It would. When I say it is immoral, it means in system of morality which is in place, it would be seen as breaking the system, and it would carry the consequences of doing so.
And that's descriptive.
Yes, that's completely descriptive.
Right, so you can't have ought statements, so you can't say that it is wrong.
No, is descriptive. Ought is. I never say it ought to be. I said it is wrong. I never said it is. It would be.
Then you just have a trivial point.
If that is your opinion, then it's true. If that is your accurate description of it. But I don't care if it is trivial, whatever the meaning of that word you want to use. I only care if it is true.
I think, Conan, it really is just it's just very a proprietary definition of morality, I would say.
Yeah,
you're saying that
I actually think it is the most accurate definition of morality.
Right.
I would challenge anybody else to give me a more accurate one.
Right. I mean, I guess what I would say, and this is where I get in, is I would just say that's not even morality what you're talking about at that point. You're just talking about, like, psychology. And that's why we think, because of that thing, I don't think we disagree that much, because I'm a moral subjectivist and so is SD. So we both agree.
It's not that we disagree, it's just that he's trying to, like, pull other things in that he can't actually invoke. Like, that's my issue.
Like, I'm trying to
I think it's just equivocation is going on. That's the thing, Conan, is I think if we use different words to describe these things, we would actually be on the same page, the three of us. If you called what you call morality just psychology, and
it's not psychology. Psychology is a science that studies human behavior. I mean, morality would definitely be a part of psychology, but calling it psychology would just be wrong.
But I mean, we're saying that maybe calling it morality is also wrong. We would just get a new word for it, for whatever the concept it is you're describing.
You just call it the state of affairs.
Well, you can say state of affairs about anything. You can say that gravity is a state of affairs. That would not be accurate enough word to describe the object that I'm describing.
What's the object that you're describing?
Morality.
Yeah, so this is the fucking issue.
Want to go ahead, SD?
No, actually, I don't. I want you to go ahead because you've got a lot more patience.
I mean, I challenge anybody to provide me with a more accurate definition of morality than I am currently using.
What's yours? All yours is a description of the state of affairs?
Well, every true description of the world is description of affairs, right?
Right.
So that is what I'm doing.
Yes, you're describing how things pan out.
Yeah, I'm describing how things are.
Okay. Where's the moral dimension to that? Pick any travesty you want throughout history. World War II, right? We can all agree that World War II had a state of affairs.
Yes.
Okay. Is there a moral dimension to any of it?
Yes.
And what is that?
It is that throughout that conflict, most of, if not all of the parties involved, acted in some way immorally. Hitler attacked first Poland, then everybody
You're begging
else.
the question.
USSR attacked Poland and Finland. UK attacked Iceland.
You're begging
and Persia.
the question.
And the question is?
No, begging the question is like a fallacy where you assume the answer in one of your premises, right? Albeit colloquially, in your case.
In what premise?
You said the word moral.
Yes, there it is. Breaking the system of morality. By definition, it is amoral.
Breaking the system. Hang on, I've got to one more point on this, and then I promise I'll be quiet because I'll just want to listen after this. Breaking the system of morality, whilst it doesn't have a moral component, that's contradiction.
Who said it does not have a moral component?
You did.
I didn't. I said that there is a
have a
system in place.
prescriptive moral component. Is what I think SD is getting at. It has purely descriptive moral components. And
yeah, so somebody shot to people. He's going, yes, this happened, which we can all agree on.
Yeah, and that was immoral. Because
right. Okay, so it's immoral.
The system of morality was in place.
Because what?
Because system of morality was in place.
Was in place.
Yes, and they broke it. So they acted immorally.
According to you, right?
Well, according to me, as the person who studies it.
He's literally thinking of morality, SD, as this akin to just nature. Like it's almost. Here, I'm trying to think. It's really weird to call something that requires agency descriptive. Closest word I can think of.
And I am descriptive. What the fuck are we talking about?
We're talking about objective morality. So
this will definitely.
You know what? Only Sid is right on this one because shut the fuck up and listen, guys. From the point of view of an independent observer who considers all kinds of point of views, morality cannot be objective. But once somebody adheres to an ideology or a system of morals, it should be a choice. I do not know if it is a necessary choice because, well, up until now I have only seen it as a necessary choice. There has never been not a case that there is some ideology that you have to adhere to. Now, once you adhere to that, your system of morality becomes objective. And the object of
No, it doesn't.
I wouldn't agree with that. I don't think SD, I guess, better.
That would not be a morality.
SD has the problem that he says that even after somebody adheres to an ideology, the morality does not become objective. And my argument is, after you do adhere to it, because SD always confuses absolute morality with objective morality.
I don't.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
I want to interrupt this for just 1 second for a public service announcement. It's snowing here, and it wasn't supposed to, but it's snowing a little bit right now. And I just wanted to say that to make a certain person jealous.
Fuck you.
It's snowing.
Get out of here. I'm going to ban your ass.
But
right.
yeah,
But
and the example of this would be, for example, what do I hate right now the most? Yeah, my sister. Yeah. I
Yeah.
fucking hate my sister so much that I really, really, really think that it should be completely all right for me to go
Mhm.
and just fucking beat the shit out of her,
Yeah.
then kill her, or
Mm.
some order like that. But since I have objective morality,
You
that
don't. You have subjective morality. You just confirmed it.
you listen to me now here, bugger.
No. What for? You've just undermined your own position. You've
I
SD,
started all your statements with "I think this," "I think that."
SD, can you give
That's not
definition of
how you make
morality?
the statement that this is not an objective morality. For a morality to be objective, your definition does not apply. Mind independent, it does not apply to morality.
Where does it come from then?
There is a different definition that would
up
apply
his
to it,
butt.
and that definition is something that is adherence, that is under adherence to another thing. That is an objective thing.
Well, my morality isn't under adherence to your morality, is it?
It is not.
So that's
But
not going to work either.
of course, it is going to work. If
No,
my
it's
morality,
not.
yes, it is. Now listen, you. If my morality is under the object of focus of my morality is the ideology and rules and regulations of Islam.
It's not
I
objective.
look. It's not going to change if you just stop and tell me that it's not objective every time I say objective
It's not,
morality.
because you're just saying, "I think this," and that makes it objective, right?
Did in all of this,
Said you're breaking up. I'm not trying to stop you from talking, but you're breaking up.
yeah, all of this, I did not say I think this.
Okay, so who thinks it?
Nobody's thinking it. I'm telling you something.
Then it can't be objective, can it?
It can be.
You're telling me something, yeah?
Yes,
And
I'm telling.
whose perspective is that coming from? Is it yours or is it someone else's?
That is not how that discussion is formulated.
Yes, it is.
It definitely is not.
No, it
I'm
is.
I'm the one speaking. I know how I'm formulating the discussion. If you would listen,
Oh, I'm not going to listen to nonsense. Why would I?
believe me, it's not nonsense if you would, just listen to it. Just don't push
To
off the
listen
idea.
to you fucking ramble on for 20 minutes about something to do with Islam? No.
It's not about Islam. Islam is just an example. It's
Okay,
just
I think-
an example.
And it's an example that failed.
That will not fail. I am very good at it when I'm doing an argument.
Over
And
to
that's
Zoom.
it.
Okay, would you guys want me to? Do you want to have a discussion on this and I can moderate, or do you want to talk to Conan more about his?
I'm very actually interested in Sid's point of view.
Right, maybe you guys want to talk because Sid sounds like he has like a sort of I don't know,
System.
like that system, like that's somewhat subjective, and also has elements of objectivity to it. Maybe different than
Yeah,
Conan's.
Because
He wants to invoke a god, right? In which case he's going to end up in the Euthyphro dilemma, and
I
good luck
am
getting out of that.
I am actually not going to invoke God. I mean, come on, dude. You know me better than that.
Right, you are not going to invoke God.
No.
Then carry on. If you have something to say, Sid, then yeah, carry on. And you can just
And-
listen. Then.
The reason why I gave the example of Islam is because that is my objective morality. Now, SD is going to say that
Oh.
if it is yours, then it's not objective. But in answer to that, when somebody says objective morality, what SD presumes is a morality that is mind independent. And my argument is that that is not how you define an objective morality. That is how you define an absolute morality. An objective morality is a morality that is in adherence to an object of focus. In my case, which would be the ideology and the rules and regulations of Islam. So
So you're not appealing to it whilst appealing to it.
No, the God does not have anything to do with it. Even the Prophet Muhammad, as a person who came up with or bring forth this system of, I would call it more ethics, but that is beside the point. It is the point that Islam is a factor on this world. And because it is a factor in the world, it means that it exists. If it exists, it is objective, it exists.
No, because he's talking about a concept.
Yes, and concepts exist.
Yes, they exist.
Yeah, concepts exist, sure.
Yes, and if something exists...
As long as you don't mean it in the material sense, then fine, concepts exist, sure.
Yeah, if they exist, they can be studied.
Yeah, that doesn't make them objective. You're just equivocating.
No, it does actually. Islam is Islam.
No, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, Islam is Islam, was Islam, is going to stay Islam.
Wow, my daddy.
Live, bitch.
Since something does exist, another thing can come into adherence to that, and if somebody does adhere to it, their personal opinions will have to go under subjugation to that, and thus that thing would become the focal point of the objective morality of the person who adheres to it.
It does not even necessarily that the person adheres to it. It is that the overarching community adheres to it, and it has the power to enforce its will onto the individual. But I would call that more ethics.
Which would make it subjective, right?
Which would make it
because obviously the person assessing it is a subjective agent, are they not?
Well, you are again doing the mistake of
being correct. Okay, I'm sorry.
Mistake of what's the word? Confusing absolute morality.
No, there's no equivocation on my part, Sid. There isn't. Okay, you're the one that's equivocating at the moment.
I'm differentiating between absolute and objective morality.
What's the difference?
Absolute morality would be something that under...
Keeping in mind that I haven't mentioned anything. I haven't said the word absolute at any point.
I know. You use the word objective morality to describe absolute morality.
And do you know what the definition of that is?
Absolute morality would be something that would be true regardless
of... No, not absolute. Objective.
Objective morality, when you talk about objective morality, it is a morality that is under adherence to another, to an outside agent.
Right, and that doesn't exist, and you haven't made an argument to establish it.
Islam is an outside agent from me. I am not Islam.
It's not. Islam is just a belief system.
It's a belief system.
That's not objective.
Islam is akin to internet. It came to be by, or it is in existence due to the connections between the agents. That is,
it's just a collective belief shared among a few ratchet knobheads.
Actually, you guys don't even know what Islam is, so let's say...
Look, it doesn't matter the entailments, right? They're not relevant.
No, the thing is, if that is how you think Islam is formulated, I'm going to have to change the example. Let's say the 10 Commandments.
I'm going to go and take a piss.
10 Commandments are deontic, right? Deontology.
No, deontology?
Yeah, they are deontology. That are... the deontology is when morality is a set of rules. 10 Commandments are a pure example of deontology.
You don't want to go down the lane of deontology, dude.
Well, I'm not by any means expert of philosophy, but from what I know it, the Ten Commandments are often cited example of deontology.
Conan, why don't you explain your objective morality to Sid and see what he
Well,
would
I'm
respond to
certain that Sid already knows my position.
I don't.
Does he?
You don't?
I don't think he
No.
does.
Very surprising. Well, I think that morality is an interhuman system of behavior based upon and reliant upon human evolutionary trait of moral instinct. Which is very similar to yours. Sorry, Sid, I don't know what you heard. So, what is very similar to yours is that I believe that basically it is a source, it is a system of behavior. I think that this is based upon moral instinct that is biologically inherent to it, and you believe that it is something that is put on by more human factor of culture and theological and philosophical beliefs. I would disagree. I would call that thing that society directly enforced to be ethics. For instance, I don't believe that cheating on your marriage partner is necessarily immoral. I don't think that homosexuality is immoral because what my understanding of it will not satisfy the criteria for my immorality under my understanding of it, which is that you bring harm to another individual, which would cause that individual to seek revenge, and by definition, by extension, others will also seek revenge. But because though harm was done, I would not call that an immoral act. But it will certainly be called an ethical act in Islamic world.
So, what? You really have to go from the top, dude. I tried to connect the dots, but you were all over the place.
Okay, I will try to be. I believe that humans, thousands and hundreds of thousands probably years ago, through a process of evolution, through random mutation, which stick into the gene pool because it provided us with advantage, developed morality, which consists of you not wanting to harm the other and you being willing to harm those who harmed the other. By other, I mean specifically humans.
Concept.
What?
So you adhere to the evolutionary concept of morality that exists. It's a well-known.
Gravity?
No, the evolutionary concept of morality. That is something.
Oh, morality. I thought you said gravity.
Yeah, that is something that Dredd is in adherence to.
Yeah, but Dredd's explanation I think is inferior to mine.
No, it's Dredd's.
Why? They're the same.
I think I put it more.
The evolutionary concept of morality is the evolutionary concept of morality. Like,
yeah, of course, same. It is basically the same, but how you present it and what specifically you mean by it can differ from quote-unquote philosopher to philosopher. But majority of the argument is the same. Yes.
Even the evolutionary concept of biology, under the standards that SD is giving us, would not be objective.
I didn't give you any standards.
That's I disagree with SD. I think that
I didn't give you any standards.
You did indirectly.
No, I didn't. What standards did I give you?
You wanted to be mind independent.
It's got nothing to do with what I want. And no, I don't want it to be mind independent.
Well, that is your
So
definition.
you're wrong
of
on both
objective.
counts.
Well,
No, wait a
your...
second. That's the only argument that you give against objective morality.
Yes.
Yeah, because I argue that it's subjective. Like, obviously, that's the contrary position. Like, duh.
But you say that what we're presenting is mind dependent.
Yeah, which makes them subjective, right? So I'm arguing that even if what you're presenting goes through, which I don't think it does, then it's still subjective. There's no contradiction on my part.
And my argument is that mind dependency is not a valid measure.
I would probably
What's invalid about it then?
Okay.
Let's hear that. Because you're not gonna find me like making arguments that are invalid. Okay, so
yeah, the thing is, when we are discussing about morality, objective here would not mean universal. In this particular scenario, objective would mean in adherence to an external agent.
then you're just equivocating, because that's not what objective means on the argument that I'm making.
Because
you're attacking a position that I'm not holding to, right? So that's pointless.
No, the thing is, you just have to change the word objective to absolute, and I will agree to it. And then you will also have to.
No, I'm not going to do that.
I would argue that we are presenting a fact about the world, and any fact about the world, by being fact, which means that it is true, is mind independent. Just because minds are necessary.
The discussion.
Okay,
yeah, this is just crazy.
What is crazy?
If you use the words "a fact about the world," then even I will have to disagree with you, Connann, because a fact about the world would classify itself under absolute morality, not objective.
I would definitely.
When I hear three people using the same words but all talking about different things,
in that case, I would call my morality absolute.
Well, you can call it that, but it means nothing.
I mean, by Sid's definition, my morality, as I present it, is a fact about the world.
Yeah, so you're just equivocating on what's an objective fact and what is objective morality, right? I don't have a problem with objective facts.
Yeah, and if what I'm presenting is true, then it is a fact about the world.
No, it's true for you. What if I tell you that it's true that I like the taste of peanuts?
Well,
right? That's a fact about the world because I exist within it. It's not going to be true for other people, though, is it? You're just equivocating.
Actually, technically speaking, it would be true for other people as well, because
yes, some, not all.
No. Even for other people, you still like peanuts.
If they accept it, but that doesn't make it objective.
Yeah, it makes
they might think I'm lying, right? I could be lying.
Reasons.
Actually, you know what? You got me on that one.
Well,
yeah, right. So, like, can we please stop with the equivocation? Because it's like, I mean, I noticed that before I went to take a leak, I was getting a little bit annoyed, and I recognized that, so I'm trying to tone it down a bit. But, like, now I'm coming back up to the point where I'm more annoyed again, and I'm trying not to do that.
Yeah, that's why I don't argue with you about objectivism, because at the end of the day...
Yeah, because you're wrong.
It does not matter to me. I should probably look into it more about how our philosophers argue about objectivism, because that is more philosophical term than anything else. But it does not matter to me.
It's always going to be a philosophical debate, right?
Is how I don't want morality to be a philosophical subject. I want morality to be taken out of philosophy and put into psychology.
And my proposal,
Okay, I don't know what to do with that.
and my proposal is that we make a new understanding of the words objective, subjective, and we definitely
Why?
need,
Because they don't work in
I
your
would
favor?
second that.
because there is a new concept in the market and we need to understand it.
What's the new concept?
The new concept is that the objective morality is a morality which is in adherence to a third agent, making the person who
That's
feels
ridiculous, because the third agent would be a subject.
actually no.
How? If they're an agent, they're by definition a subject.
Well, yes, but once you adhere
Yes,
to
exactly.
No,
For fuck's sake.
ending there.
Look,
It's
SD,
not
SD.
ending there. Look, SD, you are observing all of this from a universal point of view, and that is your mistake.
I'm observing it from a subjective point of
Yeah,
view.
but you are observing everything.
Universally
You are
subjective.
observing everything SD from subjective point of view. Gravity, the ground on what you are walking on, everything. Your screen you are observing of subjective way. But that does not mean that those things
Doesn't
are
mean
subjective. That does not mean that those things are subjective.
It does by definition.
So everything is subjective then. Everything
Absolutely.
in the universe.
Bullseye. Got it. Finally. Thank you.
So if I kill you, the universe will go boom. It will
The
stop
universe
existing.
isn't going to care because the universe isn't an agent.
So if I kill every single mind in the universe will stop existing. But we know that it won't.
Does that follow? That doesn't follow.
Of course it follows.
No,
If
it
you,
doesn't.
You
Why
said,
would the universe stop
because
existing
you
just
said
because you killed
everything
me?
is subjective.
Yes, everything from our perspective is subjective. What's the problem? It doesn't follow that if you kill me, the universe is going to stop existing. That's a non sequitur.
No,
right?
but
That does not follow.
Look, by your definition, subjective means mind dependent. So everything is mind dependent for you. So if I kill all the minds, everything will just be gone.
If there were no minds, there's no reason to think that while we are evaluating the situation, that the universe would stop existing.
Well,
if you think differently, make an argument for it.
But you are making argument for, you just said everything is subjective, everything is mind dependent. If everything is mind dependent, it follows that if it,
do you know what presuppositions are?
No.
You don't?
Teach me.
Okay. We make at least three presuppositions each, right? One is that the universe exists, two is that we exist within it, and three is that models with predictive utility are better than those without.
What does that third mean?
It just means that we can make predictions, and we value those as subjects, right?
Okay, so what are the implications of those three?
You'd have to exist within the universe in order to make the presuppositions. It's essentially the same as cogito ergo sum.
I don't know what it is.
It means I think, therefore I am.
Oh.
I can't think without being an agent that does the thinking.
So if everything is subjective to you, why am I even discussing anything that would be objective with you?
I have no idea why you're doing it. I know why I'm doing it. I can't speak to your reasons.
Well,
how would I know?
I
You're
know
a different
why,
agent.
because I got fished into this discussion again.
You can say what you want. I don't think anybody decided to antagonize you to come into the discussion. You just happen to be part of it.
Yeah, and I would not love to be a part of it anymore, because I don't.
Okay, then you know where the disconnect button is, right?
Oh fuck, that's a touche, my mon ami, touche.
Bon ami means good night, my friend. Yeah.
No, mon ami just means like love, but it's ironic.
My friend. On is my, and yeah. He just said, good point, my friend.
It's touche. Touche is like when you score a point in sword fight.
Yeah, touche means I recognize that you made a good point and thank you for making the point. Something to that
touche
effect, right?
literally means point because it is a point of epee that struck you. So you say touche as
Wonderful.
Yeah, to have this discussion, I will have to deeper into philosophy, and I don't want to do that. Philosophy is not something that will teach you anything about the world.
Conan, can I just I don't know if you're intending to go or if you're sticking around or whatever, but one more thing. Sorry?
I can stay for like 30 more minutes, no problem.
Yeah, I've got about the same amount of time myself, but one more thing before you do go, because it would be I would regret not saying this. The last thing that you said was correct. I'm not super keen on too much to do with philosophy myself, but you are actually equivocating on what objective and subjective means, and that's going to be a problem for you against a vegan who knows their stuff. Now, I'm not suggesting that Ellie knows her stuff. I don't think she does. I think she's a fucking joke. But if you're gonna do this sort of thing, you might need to look into it more. Okay, that's all I wanted to say, and thank you for being here and all the rest of it.
Yeah. Well, it is possible for somebody, let's say, maybe from a perspective philosophy to bring it up, but this being, using the words objective and subjective is not something I actually do often other than when you are here, because I know that you love to discuss this, and I don't, but it does not matter. What only thing that is matter is if this is accurate description of the world or if this is not a accurate description of the world. I don't care about putting a label of subjective or objective on my quote-unquote philosophy. That is something that is irrelevant to me. You are free to put whatever label on it you want, but I will not put that label because, for A, I don't understand those two labels perfectly or good enough to adequately use them. Secondly, they have no bearing on my argument. It does not matter to me if my argument is subjective or objective. It is just if that is descriptively the true definition, not definition, but the true description of the world around me. That is what is important.
In reverse order then. Right, your third one, it does matter if you're going to discuss meta-ethics, right, and you're going to get into this sort of stuff, so it's going to matter, right, that short statement on that. Going backwards to your second point, your descriptions or definitions are going to get you in trouble, because if you... I'm trying not to repeat myself, but it's kind of difficult not to.
I can
Yeah, go. Yeah, by all means, please.
Right. I was just gonna say that, Conan, the thing is that some people really are not going to appreciate you using morality and objectivity and subjectivity in these very proprietary ways. They're gonna know you're not like this, but they're gonna think you're dishonest. And they might end the conversation prematurely or ban you. Just refuse to talk to you. I know you don't want that. And I know you're not a bad faith person. Just saying, when they hear that, I think it comes off that way. I think that's what SD's saying.
Well, I would definitely recognize that explaining my position requires a lot of charity in my interlocutor, but I rarely use the words objective and subjective.
No, but you allude to them. It's not a not a matter of charity.
Alluding to them and using them is two different things. If they say if this subjective,
yeah, but that's just slimy. If you have a position which is clearly interpreted as being objective or someone who supports moral objectivism, and then they call you out on it and you just go, well, I never used that word, right? That's going to be seen as bad faith. And I wouldn't blame somebody who called that out as being bad faith.
Well,
but that's the thing, Conan.
I
don't think you're actually a bad faith debater. I think you really do have arguments that are, I guess, worth exploring, I would say. I just think you should make it clear the type of morality you're using is very different than the way it's commonly used. And you are using, I want to say, proprietary definitions of these words.
Well, every definition is probably proprietary. It's how widely it is used but I would definitely agree that my definition is not the common one. But to be fair, I am very rarely presented with a formal definition of morality as a counterpoint. I mean, neither one of you. I
can give you a...
Okay, give me one.
Yeah, okay, so objective means...
No objective, subjective. Of morality.
What do you want?
Definition of morality.
Oh, I could give you a definition of morality, but then you're going to get into whether it's subjective or objective,
no, I won't.
Right?
I will just say if it is accurate or inaccurate.
Then you have no point.
But please humor me. Just give me a definition of morality.
It's about the well-being. I'm giving you it.
Proper definition have a higher term and a difference. Those two things need to be present for definition to be properly made. So a higher term and the something that would differ it from other words in that higher point.
I don't know why you interrupted me, because that's literally what I was giving you, but you don't hear it.
You cannot go about... you cannot use in the definition morality is about. That is improper.
Yes, I can. That's a description.
That is improper definition.
Says who?
My high school logic teacher.
What? So describing what a term means, that's an improper definition. Your high school teacher was retarded.
No, the proper definition has a higher term and a difference. For instance, hammer is a tool. Tool is a higher definition, meant to hammer something, or meant to.
You're invoking purpose. Your high school teacher was retard.
No, that is a difference. So, higher term and a difference.
Why would there need to be a difference?
Because not every tool is a hammer, but every hammer is a tool. If you just say hammer is a tool, then you will, for a spanner, you will also say
hammer is
a tool.
Typically a lump of steel with a wooden stick on the end.
That would also
That's a definition.
Yeah, and it would also be an accurate definition, because lump of steel is a higher term. But it would not be accurate, because not every hammer is necessarily made of steel.
So? And what?
Nothing. It is just not.
I described to you a hammer.
Definition. It is not just a most accurate one, but it is proper because it.
What's the most accurate one?
That it is a tool used to hit things.
But not every hammer is a tool, and not every tool is a hammer.
No, every hammer is a tool.
No, it isn't.
Which one?
It can be used as like a fucking paperweight. It can be used as an ornament.
That is also a tool.
What, an ornament? Like a tool is an ornament?
Well, a tool can be an ornament, so it's a weapon.
Can be, right? So that's completely compatible with what I just said.
It is a tool still. If you hang a sword on your wall, it is an ornament.
It can be an ornament, yeah.
But it is a weapon.
Yep, can be. I have like a blowtorch in this room. It's used for soldering. Can it also be used to kill people? Yes.
Yeah, but it is a tool.
You don't have a higher order definition, Conan.
Yes. Blowtorch is a tool for providing fire. That is not maybe not most accurate.
I can use it as a
but it is
paperweight.
proper.
I'm using it as a tool because I've got my window open and the draft is like making my papers go all over the place. So I'm using it as a paperweight.
It does not intends ought. It just intends is.
Who talked about ought? Nobody said anything about ought in the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, I can use it as. That is like...
Yeah,
yes,
I
you
can. That doesn't mean ought. I can use it to smack you around the head with if I want.
Yes, you can.
Yeah,
but
so
is
that its intended purpose? You're just talking shit at this point, Conan. Sorry, I'm getting fucking annoyed now.
Okay, just give me any definition of morality that you want. Anything at all. Okay, I will just take anything you give me.
Well-being.
What?
Morality is the maximization of well-being of sentient creatures. There you go, there's a definition.
If you want to use the definition, then morality is that.
You asked me for a definition.
Yeah, I know. And I know that you provided that on purpose was a poke. But if you want to use that definition, I would say...
Why are you doing that?
No, I mean, if you want, as not you particularly, but as any other person want to use that definition, I would agree, okay, that is not the most accurate definition of morality.
So what is?
I believe that I presented one. Again, I mean, I can repeat it.
Could you repeat it, please, sir?
Yes, sure. I believe that it is interhuman system of behavior based on and reliant upon evolutionary trait of moral instinct.
I don't see that has anything to do with morality as is commonly discussed.
I think it has more than your definition.
Prove it. What does yours have that mine doesn't? Where's the missing component? Because yours is going to be, like, if you want to go with evolution, right, yours is going to be, by definition, lacking compared to mine. Because, obviously, if you're a proponent of evolution, you would want to say that humans have existed for a minimum of, I'll go for the bottom figure, 125,000 years, and they were killing and eating each other, right? Was that moral?
I cannot say at which exact point.
Right, okay, so you fail then, right? Stop there.
Well, that is not true. Just because I don't have that knowledge.
It's not true that on an evolutionary model that 125,000 years ago humans were killing and eating each other. That's not true. Well, you claiming that?
Humans are killing and eating each other today. That does not
mean
that there is morality does not exist.
Does it have a moral component to it?
Which people eating and killing each other?
What does it matter? Go for 125k years ago or today. What difference does it make?
Well, I cannot say at which point the system was in place and in which point it was not in place. I can say...
Right, so it has nothing to do with evolution then?
It does.
Right?
It does.
Okay, at which point did it come in? Because it's not even part of your argument.
Look, you cannot say that... When did opposable thumb come in? You cannot say exactly. You can say
we're not discussing human development. We're discussing morality.
Human development.
I don't care. Let's say that there was a point where humans had 17 fingers on each hand, right? It's not going to make any difference to the argument that I'm making. At what point did it become immoral to eat other human beings?
At the point with which the system was in place.
And when was that?
I cannot point exactly.
Then you're fucked.
Why? I don't think that is necessarily true.
Yeah, because you don't understand entailment. That's the problem, which is why... Well, I'm going to refrain from saying the next bit, but you don't understand entailments. You wanted to make an argument by evolution, right? Yes?
Yes.
And you wanted to introduce morality at some point along that chain. I gave you the Steel Man, which is saying, like, we can begin whenever you want and end whenever you want, as long as it doesn't go past the present, because you have to invoke the present.
Oh, so in that case, I can use the interval between 120,000 years and 8,000 years ago.
I said 125,000 years to present.
To 10,000 years ago. With the
to present.
First sentence. Yes, but you said...
humans exist today, don't they?
Yeah, but...
Right, so it's to present.
In which point it develops, and I can say...
Yeah, because this is integral to your argument, and you don't know where it is.
I cannot say the specific year or...
Can you give a ballpark?
I can give a ballpark, but how much of a ballpark would you accept? 1,000 years ago? 10,000 years ago?
Just give me the
100,000 years ago?
Just give me your ballpark.
Okay, so from 120 years ago, 1,000 years ago to 10,000 years ago, in that ballpark.
So that doesn't include today?
Well, in that point it developed, and from that point it stayed in place. But that is unacceptable.
What stayed in place?
The moral system. But that is unacceptable.
And that is what?
I don't know what you expect me to say.
I want you to say, right, you gave a ballpark figure, which is what I asked you to do, and you said, in that ballpark figure, that's when the moral system was put in place.
Yes. And what
right. What is that moral system?
That moral system is a system of interhuman behavior by which you are not allowed to harm other humans which did not first break that moral system of not harming each other.
You're begging the question. You haven't established what the moral system is. All you've said is that there is one and that you weren't allowed to break it. What's the moral system?
You are not allowed to harm people who did not harm you or somebody else.
And yet people still do that.
Yes, they do. Because the system is
it moral?
It is immoral. It is breaking the system.
It's immoral for people to harm other people?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
So it's immoral for you to give somebody a bruise because they're trying to rape your mother and you try to stop them,
I told you...
this is where you lose, Conan.
No, I don't.
We're going round and round in circles.
I recorded the last over the hour.
It's fine. You can keep recording. I have no problem with you recording this.
I did say you cannot harm those who did not harm you or somebody else.
Right. So it's the non-aggression principle, right? It's the NAP. Yeah, that's what you want to invoke.
Okay,
is that the case or not? Because it sounds like it.
I don't use that word. If you want to use it, then...
Well, then you can't maintain your previous argument.
Look, if you want to equate it with my position, then let me hear your opposition to it.
Sure, no problem. Okay, right. So you're walking down the street. You're just out for a stroll. It's a nice day. You just fancy giving your legs some exercise, get some fresh air, whatever. Somebody is coming in the opposite direction on the same pavement, walking towards you. They trip over their shoelace, which they didn't realize was undone, and they accidentally stumble into you. They push you into an oncoming car, and you end up paralyzed for the rest of your life, right? They've aggressed against you, haven't they?
Let me think for a second.
Yeah, it's going to take you more than a second because the NAP doesn't work.
Well, again, I don't use the NAP. And probably it would be more accurate for me to say the rules are that you cannot harm moral instinct of another. But then you will ask me what is the moral instinct. But
no, I just state that they harmed you. because that's obviously the case in the example, right?
No, I'm saying that when you ask me what is moral system, but maybe more accurately.
I didn't ask you that.
Well, you asked me before this question, but I would probably say that that person is responsible for their action.
And what should we do about that?
We should punish them.
Really? You want to punish somebody for tripping over their shoelace, which they didn't intend to do?
I mean, people harm each other all the time, intentionally.
They do.
And they are punished for it.
No, not always.
Well, not always, but sometimes. And in this particular case,
was the person objectively immoral for tripping over their shoelace?
Yes.
They were objectively immoral.
Well, they harmed another.
Yeah? Go on, bite the bullet one more time. I'm glad you're recording. I'm glad somebody's recording.
Bite the bullet again, what?
They were objectively immoral because they tripped over their shoelace.
Yeah, same as if they...
Okay, I'm done.
If they took the...
Thank you.
Well, it is same as if they looked away while driving a car and they hit somebody. What is the difference? They did not exercise a proper amount of care.
What, because they weren't constantly monitoring whether their shoelaces were tied?
Apparently, yes.
Wouldn't they be better off looking where they were going? Can they do both at the same time? Are we like 8-eyed fucking alien monsters?
Well, they can stop moving and look at their shoelaces.
They could, and I'm assuming that you do that all the time when you're walking down the pavement, right? Naturally, you do that.
No, I don't. But I don't. That doesn't
No,
mean
well,
that
what if your shoelace came undone?
I would be responsible for my actions.
And we can just beat the shit out of you and kill you.
Well, appropriate punishment would be required.
And what would that be? Remember, you're recording this.
Yes, I actually gave a lot of thought about what appropriate punishment is, and
What
I
would it be?
came to the conclusion that what is usually administered is that the lowest punishment
Doesn't matter
available,
what's usually. What do you think
should
should be administered?
Of course, it does matter what is usually, because my position is descriptive.
Well,
right?
not unless it aligns with it. I mean, if it does,
how do you
then
mean
fine.
that it aligns with it?
No, what do you think should happen in that circumstance?
Again,
it's not about
if
what's
you-
currently the case.
If you ask me what should happen, if what I want to happen, or
Right.
should happen like what probably will happen.
Hmm.
Because what I want to happen
I'm
is
only
irrelevant.
interested in the first.
I don't. It doesn't matter. I want everybody to give all the things to me.
So
And,
it does matter.
well, in that case, I want for everybody to drop down on their knees and expose their genitals to me. Because
Super.
that would be funny.
Make sure you upload this, Conan, because it's going to be.
I mean,
it's going to be quite sight.
Again, you again want to point that I don't have prescriptive views, man, on morality.
You do.
What I want is irrelevant. I would say that what would happen to me, the most accurate description is, and what is usually done, is that the lowest punishment is administered, the lowest available punishment, which would stop the ordinary person from repeating my act.
Who decides that? Who decides that that's going to be the ordinary punishment?
The same who decides everything. The group, the society.
So a collective of individuals.
Yes, a collective of individuals.
And those are subjective minds, right?
If you want to call them that, I'm not interested in labeling
No.
them.
It's not. No, I'm not letting you dodge like that. It's
Why?
not about
I
calling them that. They are subjects, right? They are agents
SD.
who have subjectivity.
You cannot
yes.
force me to answer the question that I don't want to answer.
No, you're right. I can't, but I can boot you out of the fucking server.
Well, you can, but that would probably harm the reputation of the server as being able to point out
I wouldn't care a fuck, Conan, because I
Well-
don't make money out of this server, right?
I'm
I'm not going to let you dodge and be dishonest any more than I'd let anybody else do it.
I just don't want to answer that question because it is irrelevant.
Right.
And uninteresting.
You don't want to answer the question.
Okay, it is subjective. Does that make you happy? Because I don't care.
You don't
subjective.
Care. Well, yeah, aren't you an agent? Aren't you like subjectively applying your caring and uncaring?
Yes, I am subjectively not interested in this.
Okay. And I'm not subjectively interested in any more of your bullshit. Thank you.
Great. So why you keep asking me questions then?
Because I'm exposing your crap to the other people in the room.
So you are interested then?
Sure. Okay, I grant it. I'm interested. I'll keep making an ass out of you if that's what you want me to do.
So don't you be dishonest.
Oh gosh. Oh, you really got me.
Oh yes, I did.
Mommy, Daddy, stop fighting.
I've had enough of this crap.
Go ahead. Exciting.
See,
what's happened
this is what I was talking about. This is what. Come, let's take a breather. Zoom, shut up. Let's take a breather.
You kidding? I've got popcorn and everything.
Oh, please. Let's take a breather.
What? So, how about we maybe talk about the death penalty a little? Do you guys think the death penalty is ethical?
Stop trying to be an instigator.
In fine detail, why or why not?
Jesus Christ.
What you think the other side's motivations are. I'm sorry.
I wanted to ask Pope why he's going to an army, but he left because I was sucked into this subjective crap again.
Here, just something interesting you guys might like is Thomas Nagel's views on moral luck, where it kind of goes into what SD was talking about with the guy tripping over his shoelace. It's almost like view the same actions as more or less moral depending on the consequences. It's like tripping on your shoelace and just falling on the ground. Yes, not that big of a deal, obviously.
Well,
falling into someone, pushing them in the way of a car is. The only difference there is just like that was out of your control.
Look,
I don't know. I find that interesting.
I actually, what I learned from this discussion is that when somebody else asks me what moral system entails, and I would say that it entails that what is immoral is what hurts the moral instinct of majority of people. I think is
that always what you thought, or is that different?
I try to take a more exact. I try to extrapolate for myself what would hurt the moral instinct of majority. But I think that in some higher class discussions, it would be more prudent for me to say simply that what moral system entails is that if you break the moral instinct of majority, you will be punished. And I think that is actually accurate, but it is not as informational as my previous default explanation for what moral system is, but it is more accurate but less informational, if that makes sense.
So if the majority of people had a moral instinct against abusing animals, would that then become unethical from that point?
By definition it would, but they don't. Oh. And I don't see the way in which they could be, because there is no push from the environment for you to view animals as morally valuable.
And wouldn't you say most people care about their pets, or then care about those species of animals? Like most people, I mean, I don't really have any like statistics off the top of my head, but it seems intuitive to me that most people in at least the West, so we're talking the United States and Europe, would be disgusted by someone abusing a dog, wouldn't you say then dogs would have moral value by that standard then?
I wouldn't say that they have moral value. I would just say that people have predisposed attachment to them. I mean, and us living with animals has made genetic impact on us. I mean, all of our ancestors were that shit is milk, lactose intolerant. But now we evolved, or at least a significant, or probably majority, well, I don't want to say majority, but a vast number of us has evolved to be lactose tolerant. That is because we had a drive in our environment to for those who developed random mutation of being lactose tolerant to propagate their genes more successfully because they had more abundant source of food than those who did not have that trait. So that is a trait that stuck into the population. Same with dogs. Those who had put more value, and I don't mean moral value, but more preferential value, what was onto dogs, and who had better relationship with them. And to be fair, dogs were domesticated long before cattle. They were more successful in surviving, so they propagated their genes. But I don't think that
I understand this.
I don't think that would entail a moral value in the dogs.
I'm saying that by what you said before, it would, because you're saying it's the majority, the instinct or the moral instinct of the majority of people. And I'm saying that I don't have sources on this, but intuitively,
but
it does seem like a lot of people value the well-being of dogs.
Yes, they do.
By that would make them more valuable.
I would not think that it is their moral instinct that is hurt. And because moral instinct,
seems a little unfalsifiable almost at that point.
Well, they
can say they care.
Look, my position is my position is falsifiable. There is a way to prove if morality, at least how I define it, is linked to genetics. That is something that can be proven. Now, of course, I can be
that's
wrong.
Just going to be descriptive.
I'm saying with dogs, just Conan. Like, how if somebody says,
but it is.
If we did a poll, but Conan, can I just speak real quick?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, yeah, it's no worries. So let's say we had a poll. Somehow we were able to do this of every person living in the Western world. So the United States, Canada, and Europe. We had a poll that actually said the majority of them value the well-being of dogs and find it to be repugnant to abuse dogs. So then you would just say that's not actually their moral instinct and they don't really believe that. They're just kind of confused about how they're feeling, right?
Well, that is where I would probably point out the difference between morality and ethics in sociological definitions. Of course, that is why in my forming of this theory I took a more broader view. But it is possible for, let's say, those of European descent to have a stronger affection to dogs. But I don't necessarily think that is the case, especially because dogs were domesticated in China. But I don't believe that it would entail a moral instinct. Of course, they would say that it is repugnant, but most people don't think hard about those questions. They would probably say that you cheating on your wife is immoral, and maybe somebody would say that homosexuality is immoral, or I don't know, not paying taxes. But
how would we ever prove dogs have value then? It almost seems impossible at that point.
Well, you can prove that dogs have value because I honestly believe that people have predisposed affection towards dogs, same as dogs have predisposition to humans. But I don't think that entails moral instinct, because moral instinct is something very powerful and quite old. Is it possible that it changed? Yes, but it would be very hard for me to, I don't want to say prove it either way, but my intuition tells me, and of course everything I say here is theoretical speculation. I am in no means 100% under all that I say, because that would be preposterous, because I have no tangible proof. But in my theory, I don't believe dogs are morally valuable as such. I think people have affection for them, but I don't think
understand
that.
This. You're explaining what I already know. I know how you feel about this. We've had this discussion before. I'm asking you is this very simple one question. How would dogs ever get value? How would you know that moral instinct has changed? What could we make that clear, if there is a way to do that? Or do you not think there is a way?
At this point, I cannot know. I would have to have a very detailed and a lot of data from before proposal change and after the proposed change, and I don't have that, so it's hard to me to say. I mean, I know that probably, as he would say, this is also the question, but I simply do not know, because I don't have the available data.
What available data existed to show that humans are valuable?
Well, there is plenty of data for those. If you look at every single civilization, and I don't mean just those every single civilization from which we have any sorts of records, they showed evidence of this, what I'm describing as moral behavior. So that moral behavior existed. And I don't think that it changed, because I don't think that it has any environmental influence that would change it.
I mean, it could have.
It could have, but I don't think it was.
More connectivity.
No, technology. No, technology is
larger pet ownership.
Well, technology, as taken colloquially, is way too new to affect our evolutionary path. But I would say that I don't see it. Even if you look in ancient civilizations, for instance, Romans have a lot of how do you say, records of dog keeping. They dig graves to their dogs. They wrote poems to their dogs. There were instructions on how to feed a dog, and yet the dogs were not considered other than as property. And of course, you could say that slaves were not considered other as property, but I would argue that there were plenty of sources which even from that time would try to justify the slave ownership, and not through necessarily ethical means, but through prescriptive ethical means. But
yeah, I think we should continue this conversation, because I am skeptical that's actually an accurate depiction of your values. You're saying that morality is dictated by the majority moral instinct.
Well, that would be the most accurate description of it.
Right, I'm skeptical of that, because I just don't know how you're even defining it at that point, and how you're even measuring or testing it. It almost seems like you have a conception of what it should be or what it is, and not really able to break out of that conception, regardless of people's attitudes, because say that they're confused or they're lying, which could be your position. I mean, and all entails
Well,
all that. I'm just saying that.
That is why I'm still interacting with people in this on these topics, because it interests me and I'm constantly trying to improve my understandings. So I would very welcome your interest in further discussing this theory with me. That would be something that I would greatly enjoy and appreciate.
Cool. Well, I'm interested in your morality, so I would definitely like ask you more questions and see if I can think of something, because I mean, and just kind of seeing how everything fits into it, how it could change, why it is the way it is. Maybe talk to you a little next time we're here, talk to you about non-cognitivism a little, because I mean, something to chew on or something to at least think of is I have a theory, Connann, that you are actually a non-cognitivist, and that your objective morality is kind of just the explanation behind your non-cognitive attitudes. That is how you actually are, why you seem to show elements of prescription, even though you say you don't. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just not understanding, but that's just a hypothesis I've come up with a little.
We can certainly discuss this further. I should go to bed, so it's almost 11. It's actually 11 here, so I will.
It's fine if you need to dip out like that. That's
I need to go too.
Okay, guys.
But it is going to be the case that you're a non-cog, right?
I wouldn't jump the gun and giving myself such a label, but it could turn out that way. It could not. So
yeah, I would recommend looking into it, and I will definitely, and I think I would like to talk to you about it at some point and maybe lay out the groundwork, because I think it does actually explain a lot of your intuitions and how your descriptions.
Yeah, but from what I know
of behavior,
from what I know of non-cognitive is simply that they don't believe that morality is a thing, and I certainly believe that it is, and I think that would be a
descriptive.
Yeah.
Reality.
Well, descriptive, yes.
Like that's a very important distinction.
When I use the word
I think it is, so fuck you.
Mm-hmm. Right? No, I mean.
All right, I think I'm gonna head out now, guys.
I mean, the rules of behavior certainly.
It was very interesting.
Yeah.
I want to thank Zoom for coming in, because he's far more sensible than I am. So thank you.
No problem. I'm gonna tell you guys, Connann, I definitely want to watch your debate tomorrow. And,
yeah, we'll try.
Yeah, we'll definitely post the after show.
That will certainly be interesting.
I'll upload the recording.
I'll be there.
Yeah, I will upload of this discussion. I could probably just for testing purposes. Why not? Okay, so I will stop recording
if you do upload it, right, you can